Welcome to Driving the Lane with Randy Kraayenbrink and Chuck Rowe. Now, Driving the Lane.
Welcome to Driving the Lane. Randy Kraayenbrink, Chuck Rowe, the show where we talk about mostly one thing only, and that is
Panther basketball.
Now, it's important that we remind you that although we are the official UNI basketball show for the Panther Collective, our comments may not reflect the feelings of our friends at UNI. However, Randy is a former player, and I have this UNI charging pad thing for my phone. And so because of that, this show is as official as it's going to get.
Would you look at that?
As always, we have a great show for you this week. Joining us today, Nate Heise. We also have the Panther Collective questions of the week. And of course, the Financial Architects quote of the week. Let's get started. So Randy, excited to have with us today. Drum roll, please. Leading scorer, Nate Heise. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So Nate, it's your junior year. We've never had you on the show before because there was COVID and then you got injured, but here you are. Do you feel like you made it big time now?
Yeah, this was the one thing that, I've been waiting for since I got here, is to be a guest on this podcast. And now that it's happened, I think I can think about, retiring, hanging them up.
Yeah, well, let's not talk too crazy here, but thanks. We appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we need you because you still have another year of eligibility, right?
2 more years.
2 more years. You're going to be like a 12th year senior. Yeah.
We're going to have plenty of time to get Nate back on 3 or 4 more times.
Yeah. You can call me Austin Fife.
So,
so
yeah, no retiring for you then. You still have 2 more years here. So, but anyways, this week, Coach said that the defense needs to improve on the team, right? You got to have a couple struggles the past couple games. And for Nate Heise, what does that mean for you individually when he says that?
Yeah, I think you just got to look at it from both a team perspective and an individual perspective. There's been some times where I've made some mistakes that I shouldn't have made. And then you watch the film, you look back on those and you hold yourself accountable. And then as a team, there's just some trends that continue to keep happening, and we got to eliminate those. And a lot of it starts with just toughness, and this whole week has kind of been about toughness, and defense is obviously directly related to that. So that's been the focus. And for me personally, it's just continuing to, obviously my offensive role has expanded, but not overlooking how important my role on defense is as well.
So when you say this week has been focused on toughness, so run us through a quick practice where it's like we're going to get tougher today. What happens? Yeah,
so you look at the practice plan and you don't see the word offense much on it. You see a lot of defensive stations, defensive breakdowns, and then coach just holding us accountable for when we make those mistakes that we make in games. You're going to run, and that's the best way to eliminate those mistakes is by having a consequence, really. And that's what this week has really been about, is just getting after it in practice. And sometimes during the season you want to ease back a little bit and your body is feeling sore a little bit, but this week it was all about getting after it and establishing kind of like the MO of what UNI has been known for, is just toughness and defense. So yeah.
Well, your next game is against Richmond, and they're kind of known for their speed and their defense. What kind of things have you been working on to prepare for the game? You don't need to give out too many secrets and let the cat out of the bag too much. I would say that our Richmond listeners are probably very low on the scale of how many listen to this show. So, but as fans, what should we be looking for during that game?
Yeah, they do a couple of things really well, and they tend to run a similar style of offense that we do. A lot of the flow and passing, and they really run their stuff well, get out in transition, and then they're good in the half court. They use a lot of the shot clock, which not a lot of teams do. They just have a lot of patience, just wait for the right opportunity. So just having to be locked in for that whole shot clock is going to be something. And then rebounding and getting in transition offensively.
Well, this is almost like a new starting five in some ways where, you're back from injury, really. Hudson's new. Bowen isn't 100%. He's kind of been in and out a little bit. How much does chemistry play when it comes to losses?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely plays a little bit, but at the same time, I've played 2 years previous. Bowen's played 3, Titans played 3, Jacobs played a little bit back at his old school. So we all have the experience. So you can't really use that as a complete reason as to why we have lost a couple of games, but it definitely is part of it. And, Bowen was hurt during the summer a little bit. Different people were banged up. And then just finding that chemistry, like you said, between us 5 has been an important thing. And I think when we're playing good, our whole lineup, we're playing really good, and it looks like we have great chemistry, but there's also some times where it looks like that isn't the case as well. So it's just increasing the times that we have that chemistry and it looks like we have that chemistry, and decreasing when, things aren't going well.
Randy, I like how there's no excuses.
Right. No excuses. And I think, I think that's a big thing about Panther basketball, what Coach Jake preaches, obviously. So on the team defensive part, I mean, I think we even struggled a little early last year, if I remember, on that team defense. And when it does come together, I mean, I recall Chuck watching the team last year struggle a little bit early, and then when the team defense started to click, that was a big deal. And so, we as fans sit there and kind of watch the ball, watch it go through the hoop. As a spectator, I think people need to sit there and watch the offside defense, the on-ball defense, all that fun stuff. So I'm assuming that's the big part of what you're working on, is just being in position, right? Be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about the rotations and being there to help your teammate. And obviously you don't always want to be in rotations because that means your man got beat. So he also has emphasized guarding the ball, and just if no one beats you, then we don't have to rotate. So, but like you said, most of it is what's going on off the ball, and just the principles that we need to get back to, because like you said, that's what we've been known for. And we have a really good game plan going in, but we just got to execute it better so far this year.
And Nate, I think what Randy was saying was that last year when you started the season, the defense wasn't very good. And then once you got injured and stopped playing, he said the defense got better. Is that what you said, Randy?
No, I didn't exactly say that, Chuck, but some people could read into it that way. But I wouldn't want Nate guarding me. That's all I got to say about that.
But seriously though, and obviously just joking there, but seriously though, you're kind of a do-it-all type of guy. You get points, you get rebounds, steals, assists, kind of do everything. What stat is it that makes you most proud, and why?
I think it's probably changed for me over the years. My first 2 years, I think it was probably steals. That was my steals and rebounds. I'd say those were my 2 ones that, you go into a game and you can't hope for points. Like that's obviously not the one, but I think this year it's kind of transitioned into assists. I think those are the ones that I take the most pride in because I have the ball a lot more than I did in previous years, and getting everyone involved is kind of one of the focuses that I had this summer. And so I think assists for me is what I would say right now.
Well, to go along with that, your 3-point shooting is up. Your free throw shooting is up. Is the ball just bouncing the right way a little bit better for you, or do you feel more confident? Have you been doing some stuff this summer to work on those things?
Yeah, it stems 100% from just the confidence, and that comes from the reps. And yeah, in previous years, it was always, I didn't take as many shots in a game, and I didn't have this huge offensive role. And so this summer, I knew that was going to change. I was going to kind of grow in an offensive role, and I needed to work. And this summer, I worked harder than I have in any other previous summer to work on my shot, work on shot making and stuff like that. So that's what I would say. It just comes from the confidence and the confidence also comes from Coach Jake and all the coaches along with that.
So in when you talk about your reps this off season or this summer that you did, so is it a lot of speaking to kind of the younger crowd, that 6th grade up through maybe junior high school? Because what people don't realize is you can improve a ton over a summer, right? You can improve something over the summer, whether it be quickness, whether it be shooting, whatever it is. So this summer, was it the shooting machine that you did a lot of? Did you play a lot of one-on-one? What did you do this summer?
Yeah, like you mentioned, if you write things down and kind of are specific on what you want to work on, and if you don't expect gains and get gains in one day. Like if you just do little by little, one by one, you can really accomplish a ton in the summer. And I kind of realized that too. And to your next question, I think it was a little bit everything. And it really stemmed from guys like Coach Tuttle, Coach Jake, and we kind of worked through what my role would be next year and what I needed to improve. And then specifically, it was a lot. I didn't use the shooting machine a lot. I like to use rebounders but yeah, a lot of one-on-one, because one-on-one I think is one of the most underrated ways of getting better and getting better at making shots, like low shot clock, things like that. And then just doing like individual skill workouts with like Seth or PJ or guys like that. And that consists of a lot of different things. So I think it's just getting exposed to a lot of different things, but having to focus on 5 or 6 things, that because if you focus on too many things, then you get in trouble too.
Right. Good point.
Well, scoring wise, you had guys like AJ Fife, Trey Burhow, et cetera, who were older than you. Now you're the upperclassman. Is it hard for you to wait your turn?
You know, it really wasn't, because I came in with the mindset of I just want to help the team, and obviously you want to play at the same time. So you kind of gravitate towards the role that's going to help you play and help the team at the same time. And if I was out there shooting all the time, that wasn't my role. Like there wasn't a need for that at the time. And obviously if I did that for 4 years, I think your question would be kind of accurate. If I was just a defensive guy, kind of, defensive rebounding, just making, I think it would have gotten old eventually. But I think those 2 years were very important, and you kind of earn your way in this program, and just little by little made my way to the role that I have now.
Yeah, which kind of piggyback on that question a little bit. So you come out of high school, right? You're Nate Heise. You do everything in high school. You're probably one of the best players, if not the best player on your team. What was that transition like coming to college? And you're like, wow, I'm not very good, or these guys are really good. I mean, how does that hit you when you walk on campus?
Yeah, and I think I had pretty realistic expectations. Like I watched the team, and I was never, I'm gonna come in and score 20. I'm gonna come in and do this. I kind of had realistic expectations, I think. And just, when you're with guys like AJ, and my freshman summer was COVID, so it was a little weird, but
Yeah.
almost every day me and AJ played one-on-one, and there's a lot of times where you can get humbled pretty quick doing that. So that was obviously like a welcome to college moment, is when specifically it's like when you play it as best defense as you can, and then they still make the shot, which AJ did a lot of times.
Yeah.
That was one of those experiences. But yeah, I mean, you go into college thinking that you're really, really good, you're going to run into some problems.
So on one of your traveling team, clearly you did either Martin Brothers, or you did something as a traveling team in the summer. Did you play with some of the current guys who were on the team, or that were there, that said, I'm going to go to UNI because so and so is there, or I played with that person?
Oh, so Jacob Hudson, I played with him in AAU, and
Okay.
we tried our best to get him his freshman year, but he eventually made the right choice to finally come here, and I think it's been great. And he was always one of my good friends. I was in contact with him even the last couple of years, but the last couple of months I've gotten really close with him. So it's been good to get to know people from back in Minnesota, and then transitioning to here. And I think my parents have benefited from it too, because they're close with his parents as well.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I have noticed during some games you seem to have some pretty good chemistry with him. A couple good like pick and roll kind of opportunities with him, and sounds like stuff that you've been doing a lot in the past then.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a big part of our offense, is runs through Jacob at the 5. So yeah, it's a lot of pick and rolls, and then if some guy steps up, just dump it off to him and he can finish around the rim. So yeah, it's nice playing with him.
Now, part of being a student athlete is also being the student. This morning you had a final, right? So what was your final in?
So I had a biology final in life continuity and change. And, I won't say I'm 100% confident it went really well, but it's going to get the job done, I hope.
So you think of all your classes that you take, what is your favorite class?
So I'm a supply chain kind of business major. So right now, I think my favorite class is strategic management, which just kind of is kind of a specific business, upper level business class. And it just goes into the strategy of what makes businesses successful and what they need to do to create value. And I find that interesting.
What about that class that you just kind of hate the most? That not including biology here, but maybe throughout your history at UNI, what's a class that you just dread?
Yeah, that has to definitely be either one of my corporate finance or one of my accounting classes. Like those are business related, but those are not fun at all.
Mm. So with that, you have a couple more years of eligibility left. So are you going to come out with a doctor's degree, or what do you get to come out with?
Yeah, so I'll graduate this coming spring,
Oh, wow.
and then I'll have 2 more years to 2 more years to get my MBA, hopefully.
Nice.
This guy is going to know supply management pretty well by the time he's done. That's for sure.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and Randy, we've done the show a long time, and I think this is the first time someone's ever told us that, he majors in supply chain management. I don't think we hear that very often.
Yeah,
So
this will be our first one of those.
I think so. So in fifth grade, when they were going around asking what you want to do when you grow up, were you like, hey, I want to get a degree in supply chain management? Like how did this come about?
Well, actually, I had a different major coming into college, picked out, and it was actuarial science, and then I went to pre-calc, and then that lasted about 1 week before I had to change out of actuarial science because that was way too hard or not what I was interested in. So ever since really my freshman year, I just I did actuarial science for a week and then took kind of the rest of the semester to kind of sort things out, talk to some people, and then went down this path. And I think it kind of fits with what I like to do and my skill set.
So with your major, have you had the opportunity to have a really good internship yet, or is there something you're considering soon?
Yeah, so this coming spring I'll have one, and then obviously over the next 2 years I'll have some work experience because as of right now I don't obviously have a ton.
Yes. Well, life after basketball, Randy, eventually there comes a time when you stop playing basketball and you're going to do something else, right? So what is it that you're kind of dreaming of for your life after basketball?
Yeah, so if you'd asked me this a year or two ago, I think I'd probably have been just to get a job really. And then over the last ever since I kind of got hurt, and then I think my mindset on that has changed to playing basketball for as long as I can, whether probably overseas, and just taking advantage of the opportunity to continue to do something that's enjoyable to me. And like realistically, since I'm a senior, I could be, if I wasn't an athlete, I would be joining the workforce. And that thought now it kind of scares me because I don't think that is what I want to do right now. So just try to take advantage of the couple of years that I have after I graduate to play, when that hopefully takes me to different places around the world that I can enjoy. So and then eventually, obviously, find a job in the business realm, hopefully.
And the cool thing about that is obviously, you want to continue to enjoy, you want to have fun, right? At the end of the day, if it becomes a job, then it's not that fun. But if it's a career, then it's obviously a whole different story. And as long as you can continue to play basketball, that's pretty cool. And obviously with the connections that UNI has, the connections of other players, where they've gone, where they've played, that's probably a very realistic opportunity and goal for you to have that. If you could choose anywhere you'd like to go, you visited obviously maybe with players who have been there and done that. Is there one spot you'd be like, man, if I could go there, that would really be cool?
Yeah, I think I probably know more about just the natural beauty of places more than I know what the basketball is like there at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, you think of a place like Greece or Italy, and
Yeah.
just due to the living there would be awesome. And the basketball would take care of itself. But as of right now, I mean, most of those European places are really cool, and I'd love to travel there.
Nice. Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you've talked to, like what Randy was saying, some of the coaches around, either current or former coaches or former players that played at UNI. What kind of tips has they given to you? Like, okay, if you want to play overseas or if you want to get to the next level, these are the things you have to do. What are some of those things?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the best parts about UNI is just the the amount of help that I've received from the coaches, from past alumni, from people in the community, the amount of advice that I've gotten from you and I and from the basketball program is way more than I could have imagined. And I think some of the specific tips for playing overseas is you just gotta love the game. Like if you don't love it and you're however 20 hour flight from your family, from what you're known to, used to, I think it'd kind of be tough being over there and having a job that you don't really love. But I think you just gotta love it. And obviously I haven't gotten into too many of those conversations yet, but yeah, that's what I think for the most part.
Well, we need you just to stay for 2.5 more years, and then you can do whatever you want. All right.
Now, your parents, they both played basketball in college. And then your brother, he plays for Upper Iowa, coached by former Panther Brooks McCowan, of course. And did the two of you ever play together on the same high school team?
So he was a freshman when I was a senior, and he dressed. So we had a kind of a smaller town, so it wasn't as hard to, move your way up through the basketball. Like ninth grade, it was pretty common for a ninth grader to be on varsity to an extent. So he was kind of on the bench and kind of got the experience during my senior year, but never on the court together.
Okay. Was that ever something that you guys talked about, you dreamed of? Was going to the same college ever a conversation?
Not really. That never really came up, but now that I think about it, and so he's a lot taller than me. He's about 6'9". So I mean, that's whenever you're 6'9", you can have a lot of potential. So in the future, that could be a possibility. And if that does happen, that'd be obviously really cool.
Now, I know Bricks listens to the show once in a while, and we keep in contact with him. So hopefully he's not trying to read into this too much. But maybe you could tell the Peacock fans out there, though, what sort of player are they getting in Ryan?
So I think he's what you would call really skilled. He's a skilled 6'9", can shoot it well. He's still kind of growing into his body. 6'9", probably 200 pounds right now. And so he's redshirting this year, I think, and that'll be beneficial to him. But I mean, he can pick and pop. He's still working on finishing around the rim, but just a really skilled big, I would say.
So, he's growing up. You guys are playing one-on-one together. Your older brother, you kind of give him a couple punches here and there when you get in little tussles. And then all of a sudden this guy turns 6'9". What is that like when all of a sudden a little brother kind of becomes big brother? And what was that like even on the court when you're playing one-on-one?
Yeah, that kind of happened when I was in college. I think when he was in ninth grade, I was still quite a bit taller than him, but I think he got, like, each time I went home, it was like, this guy is getting pretty tall. Like every time I came home, it was about 2-3 more inches. And then, like you mentioned, one-on-one, now I got to guard him. I have to guard him on the block because he's posting me up. And then I used to be so much stronger than him, but when you're that much taller, shoot over me. And then it's kind of that same feeling like AJ when you're playing your best defense, but the guy's 6'9" and just shoots over you. So, but I wouldn't say he's ever beaten me yet. So let's hope that continues for a while.
He's never beaten you yet.
No, I mean, we've played quite a bit, but I take him to the perimeter, and then if he's on the block, I'm sure he would beat me, but I just, take him to the perimeter and then things change.
It's unlimited fouls in one-on-one, so
yeah,
you can foul them all you want on the block.
Yeah, exactly right.
Try to get, yep.
Now, your entire family, though, they're all college basketball players, including your parents, but your sister is like the black sheep. She chose to play ice hockey. How did that happen?
Yeah, I think that's probably the question that's been asked her the most in her life, because everybody plays basketball, this, that, and then she decided to play hockey. And I think it just started up as a hobby. So I'm from Minnesota, where our town's only about 5,000 people, but we have a skating rink. And I think for the most part, most people in that town have ice skated once or twice. And my sister just got introduced to it and then went and tried it out. And then for a while, she played both basketball and hockey. And then when a time came where she had to choose, I think she would have been successful if she went down either route. But then obviously it's worked out for her really well. And she just loves it. And if she chose basketball, you never know what could have happened. But with this amount of success that she's had, I would say she's made the right choice.
So being a Minnesota guy, do you like hockey more than the average person? Do you watch it still? Are you like a Wild or a Stars fan? Tell us about your hockey life.
Yeah, I would say I'm a Wild fan. I wouldn't say I go out of my way to, put it on TV, but if it's on TV, I don't mind watching it. And I actually like watching college hockey too. So I used to go up and watch my sister play quite a bit, and that was fun. But I also like watching men's college hockey because I think that's a unique atmosphere for college too. So I would say, I mean, compared to an average Iowan, I definitely have more of a passion for hockey, but I don't really know if Iowa people have that much passion for hockey to start with. So
Right.
Well, Randy and I were just talking about this a little earlier before you jumped on, and we were saying how amazing it is that your sister Taylor was recently selected as the #1 pick for the new Professional Women's Hockey League, and I think she was nabbed by Minnesota, right? Is that right?
yeah, she was, yeah.
Yeah. So did you get to be there for that time when she was drafted?
So it was during our preseason. I'm not sure what month it would have been, but it was actually a nice experience because me, Coach Jake, and Fife were kind of watching it in Coach Jake's office, and it was broadcast somewhere, and they did a good job with it. But it was nice that Coach sat down and watched it for about an hour. Fife sat down and watched it. So that was my experience for it. But my parents were there. It was in I believe it was in a Canadian city. I believe Toronto. I could be wrong though.
So what kind of emotions or thoughts came to you when you got to see her get picked first?
Yeah, I know. At first, I think it was a kind of a consensus that she was going to be #1. So I was kind of at the start, I was a little worried, like, what if she doesn't? What if someone else gets taken first? Which obviously wouldn't have mattered that much, but obviously she wanted to stay home for Minnesota, and they had the #1 pick, so she was really hoping to be picked #1. But when she was picked, it was just a lot of pride, I would say. She's worked harder than anyone I really have known to get to where she is, and all the things that have come along with it, with her success, she deserves. And I've kind of been able to enjoy that with her. And like last year, I was able to go watch her play in the national semifinals, and I've just been able to experience a lot of the moments that she's had, and it's been really cool.
Now, as siblings, you get to tussle a little bit with each other and, the occasional fight, maybe wrestling a little bit. What's it like getting into a fight with a sister who plays ice hockey, though?
Yeah, definitely a different level of toughness. And I think that was more common when we were in the, fourth, fifth, sixth. And my dad always had us outside doing different things. So there was a lot of competitiveness. And if that meant, beating her in a race, stuff like that, it was always competitive. And she definitely has an edge and a toughness and she's really strong. So it's not someone that you pick out to fight, I won't say.
Did she ever like pull a sweatshirt over your head and then start kind of just?
No, I wouldn't let her do that, but
Well, Randy, get that winter jacket ready because Nate's going to bring us up to some women's hockey this winter, right?
Exactly, right?
yeah, hopefully.
Well, now it's time for the Panther Collective Questions of the Week, where we ask you questions directly from the fans. So you're stuck in an island for the rest of your life. You can only pick one UNI player or teammate to join you. Who would that player be and why?
That's a tough question. My first initial thought was Michael Duax, but I think I might get tired of him after a while. I spent a lot of time with him, and he's one of my best friends here. But I think my answer would be Hunter Jacobson. Last year when I was hurt and he was hurt, we got to know each other really well at the end of that bench and during practice and stuff. So I've gotten to know him, and it's been really good to get to know him because I think if I was stuck on an island with him, he's very knowledgeable on a lot of different things. And if we need some time alone, he's a quiet guy, so it's not gonna be like there's gonna be constant talking, but I think that's who I'd pick.
And it's kind of like those old Looney Tune cartoons when they're stuck in an island and all of a sudden someone starts turning, like they start looking like a chicken leg or something. And so he's a bigger guy. He has more meat on him if push comes to shove for you. So that's a smart idea.
Yeah, thank you.
Next question. So in summer league, you're playing with your friends at UNI, and you get the first draft pick. Who you going to pick off of your team to be one of your 5 players?
I think I'm going to take Titan because I think he brings a unique spot. And he's the best rebounder on our team. He's one of the best on the block guys. And I think he's very versatile. And I think I pride myself on kind of being versatile too. So if we got two guys who could kind of do a lot, I think that's who I would choose.
That's awesome.
Well, you're in the locker room, and right before the game, you spill, I don't know why you would have this, but you spilled chocolate milk down your entire jersey right before a game. You're covered in it. Do you go to Coach Jake or Coach PJ first?
I'm going with Coach Jake. It's not a good choice for either of those. I mean, but if I had to choose, I think I'm going with Coach Jake.
What do you think he's going to do?
He's going to get someone else to take care of it. He's going to get if Ike, he's going to tell Ike to come help me out, or the equipment manager, but he's going
Hurry
to
up and watch that jersey. Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
The blood jersey. Get out the blood jersey.
Yeah.
What about any rituals you have for game day? Do you do something right before the game? Do you have a special routine you do before free throws? Do you wear the same socks every game? What's a ritual for you?
I wouldn't say I have too many I consciously think about. I think free throws, I do the same thing every time, just take 3 dribbles and then shoot it. I think during warm-ups, my routine is pretty similar. Make some shots at different spots on the floor, and then my game day routine, it kind of depends on if it's home or away. Obviously, with away, you kind of got a lot more downtime. But if I'm home, if we usually got to shoot around. If we have a game at 7, shoot around at 2, pregame meal at 3, and then you can come home, take a nap if you want, watch a little TV, something like that. But there's nothing like I need to do in order to play. But so yeah, nothing in particular.
Couple questions. Favorite pregame meal?
I would say salmon and pasta, something light like that.
All right. Favorite Missouri Valley arena to play in and the best food on the road?
Oh man, the best food is the hotel we stay at in Bradley. Like that's up there. And then Drake's up there too with the food. We stay at a nice hotel there. I would say my favorite arena to play, I think it's kind of related to the environment, but I would have to say Drake. I mean, just with the environment, and we've had some fun games down there in the previous years.
Yep. Cool. Last question from one of our listeners is, so you're 6'5", your brother is, now that we know he's 6'9", so the two of you are walking down the street together. I made that part up. What's one of the annoying or one of the comments you would get, because most of us walking down the street don't see a 6'9" and a 6'5" guy walking down the street? What's an annoying comment that you've received in Hy-Vee?
That is a relevant question, because it feels like, especially when you're in a group like in Brazil or in a hotel somewhere, it is, if you see a new person in the elevator, there is I would say 90% chance they make a comment saying, "Oh, I feel short. Oh, do you guys play basketball?" I mean, I put on the list of how tall are you? And if you're a guy like Jacob or Coach Tut, I think you run into it a lot more. But even being 6'5" and being part of a big group, like it's not a bad thing, obviously. But I mean, it's like clockwork.
Well, before we let you go, do you have any final words for Panther fans?
Just a lot of gratitude towards all the fans who continuously, show up to the games. It's nice, all the, DMs you get from just fans who just tell you thank you. And you just want to thank them back for all the things because I've gained so much from my experience as a Panther, from the relationships with the coaches, to my teammates, to the communities, to what the Panther Collective has helped me out with as well. So just a lot of gratitude.
I tell you what, Chuck, just another example of a fine young man that Coach Jake and the coaching staff has brought in. And Nate, we just appreciate you as in the community as well. Like you've said, not only does the community give to you, but you clearly give back to the community, which is very cool for Northern Iowa to do that, both in the men's and the women's programs. And we just appreciate it as a fan and as obviously a Cedar Falls, person. So appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. We had a great show.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You bet, Nate. Thank you. And now for the Financial Architects quote of the week. Here it is. It takes 2 years to learn to speak and 60 years to learn how to keep quiet.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
it has to do with listening instead of speaking, Chuck. No, you can talk now.
Okay,
You're
thank you. I
good.
I love it. I love it. So I think you know, I wish there was a manual for that, especially when you're between the ages of like 10 to 25, maybe even 10 to 30,
Right.
where I think if someone forced that quote upon me, I would probably be a much better person. So
I think my wife, you know, sometimes when you tell them you hear them, but you don't really hear them, right? So what they're saying, did you really get it? I don't know. Maybe, but you need
yeah,
to listen.
I don't know what you're talking about, Randy. I never have been told that. So usually when my wife asks me to do something, I'm just very quick to do whatever is asked, really.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll call Karen after you air the show.
Oh yeah, I'm a helping hand. Like, you know, I don't want to, it's going to take up too much of the show of how great I am at this. So we'll
That's
just
right.
stop
That's
now.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so hey, this is a great quote, not just for life, but apparently for marriage this worked out. So thank you.
Totally.
Thanks for the
Totally.
great advice. Yeah.
You
Good for
bet.
you, good for me, good for everybody. As always, thanks for joining us for the show. It's time to say goodbye from Chuck and Randy. See you next week. Enter the closing music.